What's up next? I think those of you who've read this schedule will know what's up next, but we're personally super excited to have curated this session. And I think if you think of a combination of two people that you might see on stage, this is one that you would not be able to necessarily predict. Yet, their incredibly successful extraordinary journey began together, and I'm not going to give away everything because I'm still seeing the chairs being brought out, so I'm going to build up the suspense here. But what I will say about both of these people that I'm about to introduce, and I know both of them in very different ways, feisty, fiercely individualistic, have rewritten the rules, have battled stereotypes, have battled absolute rubbish said about them, supremely successful, best of friends, and whether you agree with them or not, you can disagree with them, you can disagree with their work, their views. What you cannot take away from them is that both of them have lived absolutely on their own terms. And that is why I admire both of the people I'm about to introduce now. And I just want to give you a glimpse of this, what's about.
Myself. Because I want to say, because Vogue is a partner and we were discussing this backstage, I was on the cover with Sonam Kapoor and Anushka Sharma and it said Women of the Year and I was on the cover and I got trolled all day and there was a little line that said, and the men we loved, which was so tiny that no one read it. And I just want to say, I wasn't upset that day, I was proud.
But I hope you're suitably nervous because you are going to be talking to two incredibly, fiercely individualistic, feisty, opinionated women,
yes,
leaders, kyunki success looks like this. I leave it to you now, Karan.
Thank you, Barkha. Well, rightfully, I am exceptionally nervous, and my initial interaction with Mrs. Smriti Zubin Irani was very daunting for me. It was at the World Economic Forum, and she told me right after the session that I was being very politically correct. But I said there's a reason why I was politically correct, because I plan to stay around in the industry for a while. And I don't want to make any moves that would kind of affect the status of that. But I have to say, I'm honored, I'm privileged, and I'm more than that, full of love in my heart for the two women on this stage. Both of them humongous achievers. Both of them have carved their solid place, not only in the world of politics and entertainment, but as women, as achieving women. We all know about Smriti Zubin Irani, whose cult character Tulsi went on to create havoc in this nation and became a role model for so many women. Met with so much criticism and so much praise that the polarization always makes a success story. And then from there, she goes on to becoming a huge part of the ministry and the governance, and we all know her achievements, and we're proud of each and every one of them. Welcome to this session, ma'am, and we're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Ekta Kapoor, from the 4-year-old I knew who danced at every birthday party and cried every time she didn't win the gold medal and lost many a time to Aditya Chopra and Hrithik Roshan. She was always third in line. Till one day she cried so much that she finally got the gold medal because she cried. I don't know if that was really a good reason to win.
No,
but
because they never gave the gold prize to the woman at that time.
well, times have changed, Ekta. You're full of gold today. And then from there on, I knew her as a precocious teenager and a huge achiever right through her 20s. And now to, I would say, one of the most successful women in the film industry and entertainment industry. She's come a solid way, set a solid path, and of course has many, many more milestones to reach, though she's already achieved so many. The great story about Mrs. Smriti Zubin Irani and Ekta Kapoor is the synergy that they have with each other, the friendship that they have maintained, the love they have for each other, and how they solidly do their own thing, even when sometimes paths have to cross. So we're very excited to be in conversation with the both of you. I feel there's too much distance, but I think that's the way I think Barkha planned it, so that if anything has to go amiss, then we don't do anything that would be inappropriate. So now, when you started your journey and the creation of this character, at that point, Ekta, I'm going to start with you and ask you, did you realize that when you created Tulsi, you would not only create a storm in the glorious teacup of the entertainment industry, but also create a woman that actually would become a benchmark for so much to follow? Did you even realize what you were doing way back then?
You never do. You start your journey in a very, you just do your job and then you think that, oh, I'm writing a great story. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. But I cannot forget the first time I saw Smriti. She walked in with a white shirt and jeans, and I can't forget, my mum actually had seen her on TV, on some show, and said that I saw this girl, and I just felt this girl can be your Tulsi. And when she walked in, we didn't even have a full building. We had an office. We just shifted into our new office, and I told my associate to audition her. The audition was just a 2-line audition, and then in jeans and a tight shirt, Smriti smiled and spoke those lines. And someone was like, we need somebody more traditional and so more conservative. I said, let's not be myopic. I mean, just because she's dressed a certain way doesn't mean she's a certain type. And she looked so endearing that I said, this has to be the character. She has to be somebody, when she opens the door and welcomes you into her house, India decides to enter.
Right. And India entered, and how? Your experience, the first time you met Ekta, ma'am, would be?
Firstly, I'm extremely happy that today Barkha has compelled Karan to call me ma'am on a public platform.
It's not Barkha, it's me. It's my own. It has nothing to do with Barkha. I don't call...
As Barkha has highlighted, the man did bypass everything and take the shorter route here.
I just heard
Barkha, you can't be a woman and come from the side. You have to come from the door.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not a hijacker like you, but I just hope you were saying nice things.
Mrs.
Yeah, I'm
Irani
saying-
said that you compelled
For
me
once-
to call her ma'am. I don't think you've done that. I've done that of my
I
own
think
accord.
there are enough tremors in Delhi that Smriti Irani and Barkha Dutt are going to be on one platform and not claw each other's eyes out.
Come on.
But this is Mumbai, so...
We like surprising people, don't we?
Yes, we
Thank
do.
you.
We do. And for me, it was quite a surprise when I got a call from Balaji Telefilms. And when I walked in, irrespective of what Ekta says now, she was surrounded by a zillion things and a million people. And she just looked at me and she said, you, audition. And I was like, I have just 1 week left in Bombay, and that time it was Bombay. And my father kept on telling me, come back to Delhi because you'll make nothing of yourself in this city. And she said, you audition. And then I went in, I auditioned. Everybody said I was pathetic. And she stuck to her guns, and I had a career. But at that time, she walked up to me and said, do you know you're about to make history? And all I could see on her face was a paycheck, because I had no money. And something in my head kept saying, just agree to whatever she's saying because you need that paycheck right now. And Ekta wanted to kind of drill it into me. Do you have any clue what is going to happen? I'm like, couldn't care less. Give me the paycheck. Give me the contract. Because for me, it was trying to survive from one paycheck to another. For her, it was about creating history. But somewhere in that journey, it became pursuit of that one scene, that one line that you can call up Ekta Kapoor and say, I don't think this will work. I think this is how a scene will work out. And at 12 in the night or 3 in the morning, you had a producer, you had a creator who would sit there for half an hour on the phone with you and tell you, yeah, I agree with this or I disagree with this. Shut your eyes, trust what I'm doing, and magic would happen week after week.
Well, that's, I think, Ekta's foresight. I think also her ability to kind of take from any kind of feedback around her and I think emulate that and put it out there. And I think that's why the success of the show and the several shows after that are a testament to that and more. Tulsi, when you began and you just said it, that, you know, you were seeing a
Did
paycheck.
you just call me Tulsi?
No, I said Tulsi. I was
okay.
talking about the character. Why would I call you Tulsi? Tulsi has been in every Angan post the show.
Okay, now
but
you're becoming the real you. Okay.
I've become that.
Okay.
I'm Gemini. You'll always find two of me.
Of course.
You get two for the
That's
price
like
of one.
4 of us.
Right now, there are 4 of us on this stage.
See what Barkha got me into.
Multiple personality disorders on stage with you today. Tulsi, the character, when you said that you first saw it as a paycheck, which is, of
Yes.
course, and rightful, most of us, when we venture into new professions and jobs, you know, we need to survive in the city and in general, in our professions. How much of that character became you and how much of it was you?
We had actually, irrespective of the 4 Mihirs you saw on screen, there was a 5th one, which not many know about. We actually debuted with a very, very well-known male model who she chose as Mihir. And I remember we were shooting a temple scene and this model threw a fuss about his clothes or his shoes. And he looked at me and he said, you know, this is a very horrid project. Get a life, get another project to do because this will sink, this will tank. And I remember she heard about it and she drove down, I think a good 45 minutes just to see me. And she says, I couldn't care less about the guy who had no decency to appreciate the opportunity and chucked it. I want to have a conversation with you as to how you look at the character. And in the initial 1 or 2 weeks, every director or script writer would try to make me act according to how they perceived the character. So when she sat down with me, she said, what do you want? Just tell me, how can we make this happen? I said, just let me be me. And let me kind of evolve this character, how I feel about the character as time goes by. And to her credit, I mean, as a producer, it must have been quite a gamble. And when I look back now, I think she was very brave to allow me that space. I told her that let me do it my way, I will deliver, and you'll never be sorry for it. And I'm glad that she trusted that instinct of mine because I was this newcomer and everybody else around her said, you are absolutely nuts to trust this newcomer that you've never met in your life.
Ekta, with the Tulsi lies a huge dichotomy as well. You know, while it was about an empowered woman who makes a household and controls it in a way with compassion and emotion and leads the way for her family, there's also criticism around that, and it continues to be for people who said that the character was, of course, overtly traditional, regressive. All these words have also come your way. I know you've kind of always answered these questions on several platforms, but how much of it does get to you when you go on and on feeling the need to justify an iconic character that actually moved the nation in so many ways?
I mean, you usually take on criticism first with giving an answer to it, denying it, and then you accept it with nonchalance. Because at the end of the day, if you know that you are creating a character that's affecting so many women, there are researches carried out constantly saying that India actually gave a chance, Indian homes, women started participating in family issues only after Tulsi and Parvati. When you have interviews of various leaders saying that it's a soft ambassador to even Afghanistan because they started loving the character Tulsi. We had our culture actually go to so many countries because women wore bindis after that, followed the way Tulsi wore her sari, the way she took interest in her family issues. I mean, you see the character. I have to just go back to the criticism on one side and then the character on one side. She was a daughter-in-law of a big house. She clearly had a voice of her own, which constantly used to come into a problem because she used to answer her mother-in-law. A problem that an urban woman won't get but every Indian woman who lives in a joint family has gone through this. And then she had the chance to fight her daughter-in-laws because now she had become a mother-in-law. This was her time. Like every mother-in-law, she thought, this is my moment. I can go out there and teach my daughter-in-laws a lesson. But she didn't. Because to get back or to get back, a small person does that. But Tulsi wasn't that. She supported her daughter-in-laws. And every time she supported her daughter-in-laws, our TRPs rose. They never rose if there was anything where there was fights between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Every high point was when the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law supported each other, which means that there was pathos and ethos towards this character who rose above the situation, a situation that society creates every time. You don't expect a man to give everything to a new man. A woman is expected to give a house to a new girl, and a girl is expected to accept the whole house as a family. आज से ये तुम्हारा परिवार है. It's very easy to say and very difficult to do.
Right.
And we always say saas bahu, but there is not a daughter-in-law I have met who doesn't have an issue with her mother-in-law. But we don't realize it's got nothing to do with the two people. It's a situation, a society malfunction.
Someone actually told me that, you know, there's so much said about a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law, how two women in a house can't. But sometimes one doesn't realize that the distance between father and son is actually even larger than there is between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. So is it then one can turn it on its head and say, actually, that a house is never large enough for two men to be in it, actually. You know, it's the other way around. It's actually not about the two women that we keep going on. That's a myth. But actually, two men sometimes have it tougher. What do you have to say about that?
I think when this character evolved, it did not become about just gender justice. It was about issues in relationships.
Right.
And those relationships had a male figure as well. It was about a marriage breaking down and a marriage resurrecting itself. It was about marital rape. It was about a daughter going to a college for the first time and how to deal with Eve teasing and how to tell your daughter to stand up. It was about adult education, that the oldest in the family is being taught and told that it's okay that at the age of 70 or 75, if you want to learn, you can grab a book again and sit down and start studying again. So it touched a lot of families because it spoke about them somewhere or the other, irrespective of man or woman. The most endearing memory I have of Kyunki is I had a Sunday 2-3 hour break and I had a knock on the door, and I've said this enough. An old gentleman was at my door. He just kept staring at me and I said, "Sir, koi kaam hai aapko?" He said, "No, you know, I just wanted to tell you that my family watches Kyunki, and it's as if they've suddenly discovered that there's an old man living in their house because of your relationship with Ba." So it was not only about women. It was actually about how families are evolving and people connected. Because in that show, we did not have a star. We had actors. Right. And for her and for us, what was important is the emotion of that particular scene or that episode that we wanted to convey. So we would have, before a scene and a very big scene begins, some kind of a narrative coming from her that this is how I imagine a scene to unfold, and this is the message I want to give through that scene. And actors would follow suit, because once you, no scene was about, अच्छा scene करना है, या अच्छा कोई शादी है, या अच्छा कोई celebration है, या कोई झगड़ा है. Every scene wanted to say something, and she was very clear what the narrative would be.
And then how did you deal with all the criticism that came also alternately? When
I
it came your way, when
believed,
people said all things about Tulsi as the flip side of what it was?
No, I firmly believed then and now, and I say it, when they say, "Arey, sari pehanti hai," just because you wear a sari, that does not mean it's a sign of regression. Clothes do not define how you perceive society or how you function as a human being. Right. Clothes are just an extension of your personality, and they say a lot about what you feel comfortable in. And for anybody to perceive a woman to be regressive just because she's wearing a sari, in fact, reflects a lot on their mentality and how they'll perceive women to be. That a woman is not a human being, she's a dress code.
Yeah. That's true. That is so true. But when we talk about today, what used to be criticism is now a new word for it.
She used to be very happy.
Ekta.
We've never had her feel frazzled. I mean, I would never give a damn when some article would come and she would be happy. Oh, they're criticizing because that means they're watching. So she was
Yeah, love them, hate them, just don't be indifferent to them. Yeah, but I think now today the new term for, of course, criticism is now trolling. And I think most of us wake up in the morning and, social media trolling is, at least with me, it's the order of the day. If I don't get trolled in the morning, I think something's wrong. Like, there's something I will do. Like, I was holding the hashtag We the Women backstage, and I know I'll be trolled for that as well. They'll just say things. They say nasty, mean things because they are faceless, nameless entities out there. Ekta, I know sometimes, you hide your sensitive, solid part, but you are exceptionally sensitive and hypersensitive at times. How do you react to this? Because I know you went in and out of Twitter only because of that. And I know you took very cautious steps and came back. So does it bother you even today after all your humongous achievements?
So I actually think differently. I don't know if it bothers me, but I want to start my day positively. Thinking positive things. I like Instagram, putting up pictures, seeing people's holidays, workout routines. It makes me feel happy. I don't want to go in the morning and hear people who hate me for something I have not done and for something they've assumed. And so I stood away from Twitter. I went back there because I now have an app and I have to be on all 3 platforms. And my friend, who I forced to join Instagram, had made me join Twitter. I was like, this is too political. I can't handle it. I want to be happy. And I think, so that's why I am highly sensitive, yes. And that's why I decided to protect myself if I can't protect my environment, to see that I see only things that make me happy. And I think all of us should do that.
And as a politician today, and a prolific politician, you have, every day, you are confronted with strong opinions, pro or against. Every day, every single day. Now, I know from the beginning of your journey, one has realized that you have always been a solid woman, a woman of substance, a woman of opinion. But today, even though you are all those things, every day, you're a large part of the governance today, and you're going to get all kinds of inputs on a daily basis. Newspapers, social media, opinions on platforms such as this. How do you handle it?
I think when you're in the public space, it's your job to handle the opinions, because if you are too shy of that, you have no business to be a public figure. I have also said that when you look at Twitter from, let's say, my perspective as an individual and not as a politician, then there is a feeling that if you want to deride a woman or kind of cow her down for her narrative or for her belief, you need to add a sexual innuendo or an insinuation which might embarrass her or enrage her or break her. I take it with a pinch of salt because I know that is where it is heading, or that is the intention behind that kind of a venom. I also have said many a times that if you feel that, and for my ideology, there is a difference that you can get trolled, you can get beaten, but you can't cry hoarse about it because people say that you brought it onto yourself. But more than anything else, it's not as if I get in opinions only on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram for that matter, though my Instagram is a bit different from my political side on Twitter. I once in Rajya Sabha, I remember, I had met a colleague from another political party, and he was new to Parliament. And after taking oath, he met me in the gallery, and he walked up to me and he said, my wife is a big fan, and he was from the opposition, and he said, one day I'd like her to meet you. And I said, okay, sir. He said, बहन जी, मैं आपको एक चीज़ बोल सकता हूँ? मैंने कहा, हाँ बोलिए, आप बुरा मत मानना, मैं बहुत तुलसी को पसंद करता हूँ. मैंने कहा, नहीं बोलिए भाई साहब, तुसी थोड़े फैटी नहीं हो गए ने? This is a politician, and he has an opinion about me, which is given because I had another life before I came into active electoral politics. You can't shy away from opinions. What you can do possibly is have a steel frame around you. What affects you, what doesn't affect you. Also, you have to be very, very, not strategic, but very understanding of the fact when people want to rile you just because they want to rile you. Right. And when you want to engage with them as a politician, and especially somebody in government, you can't shy away from criticism. If there's something constructive about that criticism, you have to take it in your stride and do course-corrective measures. But I have to be open for any communication with citizens, irrespective of whether they voted for my party or not, because that is what we owe to them under the Constitution.
Right. No, of course, and rightfully so.
But I actually agree with Smriti because I've suddenly recently realized that when I went on Twitter, someone had tagged me on this. I was in the worst dressed celebrities list. And they had all my pictures put out of how bad I looked in every party, every end. And I wanted to ask them, which other producer have they trolled for badly dressing? I mean, I've seen a lot of them, and I'm dead, except for you, of course, who dress well. They're wearing, with their bellies, shirt out, shirt half open. No one has gotten trolled. Only I got trolled because being a woman, I'm supposed to change my shoes. I can't repeat my clothes. I have to have my hair done in a certain way. But I'm not acting. This is not my profession. I'm a producer. And I'm a high street girl. I shop high street. I would not pay 1 rupee more even if it's a brand. I'm a businesswoman too. If I see a bag where I have paid something and someone has got a bag far cheaper, I feel jealous.
So you
All
don't
for the
come from that
same.
ethos where you think things that are cheaper are not good.
No, I don't agree. I think things are cheaper, smarter.
No, but I totally understand. And firstly, on the record, there's no reason for you to be on that list, Ekta. You're looking lovely. There's absolutely no problem.
I
And don't-
actually was angry. I wasn't
And
really
you don't know how many
feeling-
lists I have been on. I don't even want to go down that path. So I get onto some kind of a worst list all the time. I'm accused of everything, from everything that you can think of. From fashion to nepotism, I'm blamed for everything. So it's
Don't
okay.
start. Do not start on that N
No,
word.
I'm not bothering. I don't want to go down that path because that is so last season. But we're going to find a new word. Somebody will help us with that, I'm sure, very soon. But when we talk about Mrs. Irani's role in politics that she just said, did you always think that this was going to be her path? Or was it a surprise?
So I still remember the first time she told me she's joining a political party. I had to sit her down and tell her, you know what? It's a big bad world out there. And you're not really politically correct. You've told me so many times what you've not liked and what you've liked. And I don't think that works in politics, yeah.
I actually disagree with you, Ekta, because if you've been part of the film industry, politics is like the easiest thing in the world.
You know what? We are from the team.
Because let me tell you, all of us are equipped. You deal with movie stars morning, noon, and night, you're a politician.
But Karan, we were from TV.
You all are,
were
and a
we
huge
were-
part, but entertainment industry nevertheless. And
Yeah.
you deal with the same. You deal with megalomaniacs, you deal with egos, you deal with opinions, you deal with delusion. All that and
All
more.
three attributes of actors. And we deal with that.
Yeah.
And she's an actor who's going into politics. I had to stop her. I told her, I said, what are you doing? This is not going to be. She's like, I want to do something for the country. I was like, we already are. You're entertaining so many people. She's like, no, yaar, मुझे कुछ करना अपनी life से. And I can't tell you. I have to say this in front of everyone. I don't know if she'll agree or like it, but I have to say it. I have had her come to shoot on the day of her marriage. I've had her come to shoot a day or 2 days after she's delivered her baby. I said, Smriti, we owe it. She has come, she has given closes. My production head, who she has yet kept in touch with and is friends with, Ketan, knew her delivery date, knew everything, had reached there with a camera, waited with Zubin outside and said that, can I put one shot? And she put her makeup on and she shot just after her delivery.
My God.
So I knew there is resilience, there is going beyond the typical norm of what you can do and push yourself to do. And I knew there was somebody who doesn't rest before she achieves what she wants. And I knew that everything else works out. I've seen so many young kids and I know which one is going to make it because of the attitude. That's all that counts.
That's one thing we have in common, ma'am. Even I shot on the day my babies were born. Slightly different experience, I'm sure. But even I did. But that is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I just think that, you know, she's like she said that she warned you about it. Did you go in with that level of trepidation?
No, I think that I've had a kind of a social, other kind of a life apart from acting. I must have been one of our only few actors who never ventured out into the industry apart from just going to set and coming back home. So I was never available in the public space for any other work apart from my political or social work. So I was a bit different to begin with for her. And she never had that. There was no shenanigans about, oh, you have to come to my party, or you have to be seen with this group of people. Because at that time when I started work, the presumption was that the more you socialize, the more work you get. And that is not the standard that we had set when I was working with her. For her, what mattered is how you emote when you come on screen or when you're seen in front of the camera. But yeah, we did have a lot of scary moments with my baby about to drop on the set and everybody ready to, and unfortunately I was shooting in Goregaon and my hospital was Breach Candy. So anybody who knows Mumbai knows that it's like a nightmare. Aapko prakat hona padega Breach Candy if you're in an emergency. But I think that there are two moments which I'll never forget. One was I was doing a dharna with Nitin Gadkari ji at that time at Mulund. And I had a lunch break, a good 3-4 hour break. And there was an understanding with the production house that I've had a baby and, I'm looking after everything else. So if there are 3-4 hours of breaks in the middle, then I will do my thing. And her condition was, as long as you come back to set when I have to shoot. I said, yeah, that I'll do. So in that break, nobody knew that I was giving a dharna and I was arrested.
Oh, God.
And they took us to the police station, and unfortunately for all the policemen, their wives landed up saying, "Tumne Tulsi ko jail mein dala hai." And her production kept calling, "Smriti, kahan hai?" And my driver said, "Bhabhi ji, jail mein hai." And everybody freaked out because she kept screaming, "Usko jail se nikalo, meri episode ki shooting baki hai, mujhe tape uplink karna hai." So we've seen those mad days. And I remember when my son, my firstborn, and my daughter is here today, ladies and gentlemen. The proudest, she is 28, my stepdaughter Chanel, I don't know where she is. Where are you?
She's there.
She's there. So this one is also a culprit because when I was pregnant with my first child, and I remember all of them, all these mad bawas that I'm married to, and I say that I'm married as much as to her as to Zubin. So all of them are calculating when I'm going to give birth because she wants to shoot. That one wants to, schedule what will happen in our lives because of the baby. I tell her at 9 in the night that, Chanel, I think I'm getting labor pains. And she laughs, "Tamne ke bhi khabar." I like, hello, big belly, my pregnancy, I know. So I still have a photograph of her laughing at me. That Smriti thinks that she's into labor and she's not. She looks hale and hearty. I'm like, no, somebody take me to the doctor. So till 3 in the morning, I was negotiating with both father and daughter to take me to Breach Candy. At 4 in the morning, I run into hospital. At 6 in the morning, her production guy calls up, "Is she coming to set?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm having a baby." I said, "Acha, acha. Kitne baje tak ho jayega?" At 2:20, trust me, at 2:20, I have the baby. I remember in the afternoon, this one is standing outside the door. Zubin is inside the OT. And I've had the baby, just the baby pops out. And suddenly my husband's phone rings. I'm like, "Your phone is ringing." And he said, "Yeah, 1 second, Ketan hai, her production head." And his words were, "Thank you. Is the baby out?" Zubin said, "Yeah, it's out, but I don't think she's shooting for the next 2-3 days." "It's okay, 72 hours I have. So she can shoot with me after 72. That is the kind of madness that was Kyunki. We've done everything possible. We've had babies on the set. We've had people ready if there's an emergency. And they had selected, ये कपड़ा, ये साड़ी में स्मृति को छुपा देंगे, यहाँ से बच्चा पैदा हो जाएगा, शॉट थोड़ा सा कंटिन्यू होगा, तो उसके बाद हम लोग शूटिंग करके घर चले. That is the kind of life we've led. And I think that is the reason for the success behind the phenomena called Kyunki.
Yeah.
Because for all of us, it was just not a show anymore. It was our life. We were very, very... I think we were quite fanatic about it because we knew the kind of people connect the show had. Everywhere we went, we knew what people expected. I remember when Mihir died on screen, I was walking with Zubin in Lokhandwala market. People used to hold me and say, "Mar gaya." And Zubin would be like, "Hello, kaun mar gaya?" So we've seen some very crazy days.
Well, I think that just speaks volumes about the impact that the entertainment industry has had, to model the fabric of the nation in so many ways. Like today we are seeing a character, like what we're talking about today. I mean, you set an example on television as a character. You portray a certain woman, and today you're revered, respected, and loved, and in a position of power as a result of a created character, and so much more, and your own personality you bring. But it's such a phenomenal success story for both of you. I mean, when I just kind of deal with the fact that you changed the way Indian television is. You are, and we have to say that Ekta Kapoor is the reason why Indian television has reached the heights that it has. And we have to say that you have set that. And there is no whether, and you know, darling, we all get criticized, we all get applauded. It happens to us on a daily basis, but you cannot deny the impact. And one cannot deny the impact of what you have done as a character and what you continue to do. Now today, when you are in such an important portfolio, it's information and broadcasting, and you've been an actor, is that a conflict of interest?
I knew you will get me into this one. No, it is not.
See,
because
I had to say all lovely things to get to some of the important bits.
I know that. I knew it was a trap. I think
wasn't.
it's, in fact, better. Somebody who's seen the medium, and I graduated from acting to production to writing. In fact, one of my first co-productions was with Ekta, Thodi Si Zameen Thoda Sa Asmaan. So you learn the whole gamut of activity behind the scene. And your first thought then goes towards those people who never come before the camera, never have their stories spoken about.
Right.
And everywhere you go, the first thing you ask about is the technician. And I think that that is the change, or possibly that is the experience I bring to the table. The fact that I know the real challenges, the fact that I have those relationships with people where they can talk their mind, and we can, it does not matter if the two minds don't meet politically, but at least we have a conversation.
But I have to say this about Madam Minister here, that I have dealt with, we've always encountered members of, members of parliament, people who have been ministers in high positions and placements. I've never seen a more proactive minister in my entire life. I mean, she is, it's shocking how accessible she is about little matters. You can pick up the phone and message her. In a minute, you will get a reply. You call her, in a minute, she will call you back. I've never found a minister this accessible ever, and I've been around a long time to know that, I want to say. That when we have things that concern us, and I've called her on occasions, other members of my industry have called, she's available to everybody and has given them that access, and I think that's phenomenal. And I think I have to say that I've never dealt with a minister like this. It might be okay for you.
I don't think it's supposed to be a phenomena, because that is supposed to be a job, to be available for
But
citizens.
not everyone is.
It doesn't matter whether the citizen is a high-profile producer or just a, citizen who is just a professional or a housewife. It is our job. And it throws me many a times when people say this from the industry. Why are you picking up your own phone? I'm like, this is just a job. It is just a privilege to serve, and it should not be looked at from any other angle apart from that.
And Ekta, because of your close association, sometimes you could walk a fine line or a tightrope because you have industry issues that you need to address, and sometimes you could have a different perspective. But having such a close friend in the position of power who can make a difference, but sometimes may not be able to for circumstances, does that become like a weird situation for you at times?
So I remember the first time I saw it on television, Smriti had called me saying, I've got something to tell you, but I can only do it after a formal announcement. And I saw the television, and somebody called me and said, Smriti is the INB minister. And my first reaction was, oh my God, I'm so stuck. This is not good. I can't let this happen. Because suddenly, one of my friends is now going to be dealing with government issues of my profession. I can't call her up and say casual stuff about the industry anymore. I can't call her up and talk about, my issues with the government. As a friend, I did that so many times because she was not in that power, and now she had it. And I was like, oh God. So first thing I did was to call Smriti and say, okay, from today we stop talking about films and television. She said, yeah. I said, yeah, let's keep that clear, that now we are no longer going to get these conversations in, because it will always hamper the friendship. And there is nothing more important than friendship. I think for me, it's very important to see friends and women I admire in places of power, because it's always understood that women pull down women. And actually, it's not true. I think we all cheer each other. So if I ever undermine or compromise her position by asking her for advice or even a certain amount of favors for friends of mine, I'd be undermining her position. And friends of mine who would think that I know her well, think I'm not helping them out, would then think of me. So it got awkward, as you have seen recently what's happened. But I've decided that that's important, because I'm always going to have friends who have positions of power, and I've been in a position of power where I can't help someone out professionally. because that's going against my job. Maybe not casting them, or maybe not taking them on a certain role or a writing role also, and you have to do it. So I think that's respect for each other, that you don't let it come in the way, but it gets really messy. She knows it, I know it. She's told me, I will not have this discussion with you. And I'm like, I'm not having this discussion. I'm ranting. And I'm like, okay, fine, go on, but I'm not having this discussion with you.
No, it's not easy being my family. It's not easy being my friend. Because when you take the onslaught, when it gets dirty, I take it with a pinch of salt because I'm very used to it. My family's still not used to it. Chanel is here, she's not used to it. She would not even post a joke on my Instagram account. She said, people will think you're this evil stepmother and there's something happening between us and there'll be a headline. She would not do it. My husband posted an Instagram photograph of me and somebody made a sexual comment on it. And he said, I don't want to do it anymore. This was just about my family. Ekta would not get into it. My kids would not get into it. They faced, I'm very lucky that my family faced all that and still supports me in my pursuit of, my ideology, in my governance, work. It's not easy being Smriti Irani's family. They have the worst of it. My kids got uprooted from Mumbai, went to Delhi because as a family we wanted to stay together. These are the stories about working women that don't matter because we are supposed to not have these issues. And, but we do. And just like Ekta said, oh my God, she's become INB minister, my son and my daughter, they said, oh damn, that means she has to stay some more in Delhi. They are desperate that I get sacked so that I can come back to Mumbai and they have a good life here. It's not easy. For kids, hats off. I'm very proud of them. She has been at the end of it. She's heard a lot of nonsense. My kids have. My husband is pretty strong that way. But what my kids have been through, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And that's why she's the smart one. She would rant, but she said, we won't talk about this. I'm like, yeah, we can't. We can't have this conversation.
But yet, I think your irreverence and your candid approach, I think even on social media is applaudable. When I see a post with Mrs. Irani in Parliament with this expression saying, looking for that elusive diet to lose weight, it's amazing that in the midst of everything she does, she still has that sense of humor, which is fantastic.
I think all women have that self-deprecating sense of humor.
Yeah, I think we're all looking for that diet.
And I was wearing a denim jacket at some party and she commented, she says, I want that jacket. And I was like, would you believe that a minister in this power is actually looking at Instagram, commenting on fashion and being funny about it? I think that's amazing. I think more power to women like you, more power to women in placements like you. And I think the fact is that you don't walk, and I think Ekta with you as well. I think, you all achieve and you move on and you don't take what your achievements are to that level of seriousness because that's the only way you can continue to achieve. I always say you meet with success with relief and failure with contemplation. And the moment you start resting on those laurels, nothing happens after that.
I don't think it was anyways an endeavor to pursue success. It was about pursuit of excellence. It was about being the best in the job that you're doing. And I think that is what bore a lot of fruits for us. And for every woman, and I speak this as somebody, you guys, and I'm not saying this with a, with a sense of hurt or with a sense of resentment. It's different for women who don't come from economically very comfortable backgrounds. You always have that chip on your shoulder, even if you succeed and reach the heights of your career. It is very, very difficult for them. And the kind of life they face, and to go this far in your life, I keep telling my kids, I said, you have no clue. You have a roof over your head, you have 3 meals a day, you have no clue what it feels like. We are sitting in Mehboob studio today. In Bandra, the first McDonald's opened, and I was swapping the floors there, in 98. I'm here today, close to 20 years later. It is a different world out there for women who do not get success. There are women who don't possibly want to have a profession or a career, but they're compelled to do so because they want to make 2 ends meet. They would rather do something else, but they don't have that choice. There are women who choose not to have a career but then get persecuted socially because it is presumed that because you're not ambitious, there has to be something wrong with you. So irrespective of what kind of woman you are, there's always a question mark on your head. And it seems that men effortlessly glide by. Uh, I mean, sorry to your gender, but it
That's
just
fine,
happens.
no offense taken.
It just happens. I mean, I have been riding my daughter's head off. Shadi kab hogi? And then I tell myself, Arey yaar, I'm doing exactly what my mother did to me. I'm telling my 28-year-old, she's a topper in Georgetown University, which is the biggest law university in the world. And she's a New York bar, from the top 300 in just one go. That's a huge achievement. And I keep looking at her and she says that, you have the Karan Johar effect. You just want marriages like Karan Johar shoots it. And that is your problem. But we do this. We do this irrespective of our journeys to our daughters. We do it to ourselves. Nobody tells us to be perfect. But because we are working, we just want to make very sure that we fulfill our responsibilities as mothers, as wives. Our husbands tell us, तुमको किसने बोला हम कर लेंगे? But no, we are compelled that I have to be that perfect wife, I have to be that perfect mother. Why? Because I have a career. So it's a different ball game for working women, and it's a different ball game when you have family. They don't expect anything of yourself, but you keep yourself on that high, and you don't want to fall ever. It stresses you out, you lose your hair, but
It's so true.
it'll never happen.
I mean, the most popular question I've asked is not anything but when are you going to settle down? I want to ask how much more settled should I get? I think I'm pretty settled. And it's still asked, but settle down? I'm like, what do you mean settle down? Here I'm sitting, I'm settled. But it's just amazing.
That-
It's like constantly ask the same question.
Well, I'm going to now go into a very quick rapid fire because I feel like that is something that we need to do. And somehow this face recognition on the iPhone never works with me. It doesn't recognize my
You know
face
you
for
need
some
glasses,
reason.
right?
Huh? I know. I didn't wear them because the last time I wore them, you said I shouldn't. So I didn't wear them.
He's making himself sound as if he's this most obedient producer in front
I
of the
am.
mantri, which he's not. The minute we get off this stage, he'll be his real self,
Of
which
course.
is that he's a bully.
Okay, can I begin? This is rapid, so you'll have to be very rapid in your answers, and they're very easy. No, it's first, you, whatever. It's like that. Okay, starting with you then. All right. Are you ready for this rapid fire? The hamper is me. You get to take me home, whoever's better at it. All right. Ekta, then to you. The one thing you wish you could change about men.
Thinking?
The one thing you wish you could change about men.
Nothing's a waste of time trying to change them.
Okay. The one thing you can accuse a woman of.
Losing weight. Most of them have lost all their weight. I think I can't accuse them of anything else.
Oh. And what about you? One thing you can accuse a
Worrying
woman.
themselves to death over issues that they have brung upon themselves, where people don't expect them to excel, but they do. So pushing themselves too far.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Well said. To you, ma'am. The one thing you wish you could change about our country.
Which I am now a part of, to make sure that every girl, I had the privilege under the Prime Minister's leadership of ensuring when I was in HRD that every government school in our country has separate toilets for girls. So that is my contribution. And the Prime Minister did that with the endeavor that education for girls, the literacy rate goes up. So I want to see a fully 100% literate girl power in the country.
Fantastic. More power to that thought. What about you, Ekta? The one thing you wish you could change about our country.
Too much accusation, too little acceptance. I want to change that about our country. I think we have to learn to accept each other.
Lovely. More power to that. The one thing you would never want to change about our country.
I think the khana. Indian khana is the best. We are not changing this for anybody. No continental for me. Spicy, fattening for all our Punjabi genes.
One thing you would never want to change.
As a Punjabi, part Punjabi, I would not disagree with that, but also the people. No matter how eclectic we are, no matter how diverse we are, no matter how much we debate each other, when it comes to the question of country first, irrespective of our ideologies, irrespective of our differences, we stand as one. And that I love about my country.
Fantastic. A woman in the following fields that inspires you. Sport.
PV Sindhu?
Sport.
Sania Nehwal.
Indian cinema.
Ekta Kapoor.
Oh no.
Because she's taking it digital as well, and she's a pioneer from television. She went digital, she went into cinema. I think she's an adventurer who needs to be applauded as much for her cinema foray, because her cinema is absolutely different from the television that she has
Yes.
done, and that takes guts.
Yes, she has all kinds of love, sex, and dhoka in cinema, and then creates a tulsi on television.
See, he's using sexual innuendos to run you down.
I read a very interesting line to that. Swimsuit empowers some, sari empowers some, and it's none of our business to decide what empowers who.
Oh, fantastic. Indian cinema, who inspires you?
Indian
A
cinema
woman?
who empower. I would say Smriti, yeah, because really, I mean, to go and become the minister after that and take over this role with so much aplomb. I mean, we're sounding very bad, but it's true, yeah.
Mutual admiration
It's fine.
society.
Politics.
Politics.
And you're not allowed to say.
Yeah, Sushma Swaraj.
Okay.
My boss, Narendra Modi.
Woman,
No, woman.
Oh, woman, yeah, then I'll go with Sushma ji. Sushma ji, but I'll also add Vasundhara Raje. She has a lot of spunk, and I think that this is a lady that if you meet, you will realize there's more to her than just being the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. So Sushma Swaraj, who wins every diplomatic battle with a smile and doesn't actually thrust upon the men that she's done better than them. And Vasundhara Raje for the spunk that she has as an
Spunk that she
administrator.
has. And finally, the media. A woman that inspires you in the media.
There is, people would expect me to say Barkha Dutt out of pure politeness. But there is a lady who is online. She's here today amongst you. She's not proper mainstream media. She is spunky. She doesn't agree with us always. She does badger us a lot. But she is on social media making the right noises on economy. And I think that women who write on economy are very few and far between.
Right.
Rupa Subramaniam in the house. So, she's there.
That's wonderful. Hello, Rupa. How are you? I'm very well.
So yeah, economy I'm sure has kind of bored you in terms of not spicing up your rapid fire round. But I
No,
think
that's
that is
fine.
one of
It's
the
an answer,
other
and I'm
issues.
very proud to have heard Rupa's name.
No, I think that is one of the other issues that happens with women who are supposed to be mainstream. We are supposed to talk of everything else but the so-called serious topics. So you have a lady who speaks on economy, and you have a female defense minister. So I'm spoiled for choices, but she's one.
Fantastic. And you have a lady in the media who inspires you?
So Faye D'Souza and Barkha Dutt, both. I think they're great.
Fantastic. All right. Who, according to you, Ekta, is an overrated film personality?
नहीं ये नहीं कर सकते ओवररेटेड फिल्म पर्सनैलिटी देयर सो मेनी एक नाम नहीं आएगा
इतनी बड़ी लिस्ट है.
इतने सारे ओवररेटेड डिल्यूजनल नार्सिस्टिक लोग हैं यहाँ नहीं मेरे पास एक नाम नहीं है और तुम बाद में मुझे नहीं सेव करोगे
अच्छा, आपके पास
मैं तो बोल ही नहीं सकती, मैं मंत्री हूँ.
अच्छा, तो इसीलिए आप ये बोल सकती हैं ओवररेटेड पॉलिटिशियन?
बेचारे को भी प्रेसिडेंट तो बनने दो. अपनी पार्टी का प्रेसिडेंट बनने दो, देश का प्रेसिडेंट बने ये दुर्भाग्य नहीं है.
अरे
हमारा.
यार ये I can't say anything यार I mean I'll get into a problem ये लोग तो मिनिस्टर है ये लोग बच जाएंगे हम लोग बाद में फंस जाएंगे but I'm not saying anything about anyone who's a president or not of any party no but don't you think there's a lot of nepotism in politics also no one raises that question
I agree.
I also agree. Leave us alone. Target them.
वहाँ कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता इतना nepotism है
That's the
बोलते हैं,
only
हम लोग
time
सारा
I want
दिन
to. Really, the only time I wanted to sound like a vintage Hindi film heroine is when I'm asked this question. I would say, "Bhagwan ke liye mujhe chhod do." All right, underrated. What about an underrated politician? You have an answer for that?
yeah you should say
नहीं वो तो ओवररेटेड में है भाई. a politician.
Politician, I don't
And
know.
you remember my advice, don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
You have an underrated politician?
Underrated? I had just the overrated guy.
Okay. You don't. You think everyone who's
You know, the beauty of politics is you never say never about any individual. You never know
No,
politics में कौन कब कहाँ किस issue पे किसी की आवाज बन जाए. So to be a pragmatic politician is to respect every voice and to say no matter how underrated you are, overrated for that matter, puns unintended, every voice matters and every voice has to be respected even if you disagree with it. That is the beauty of a democracy. Every voice counts.
fantastic. And finally, if you had to make a politically incorrect statement today, what would that be?
हाँ बताना जरा एकता.
शुरू करना है. मैं, if I had to make a politically incorrect statement, I would say, politics is that dirty linen that's usually washed in public, and films is that politically incorrect business to be in that really, even in the end, gets us all the brownie points. Actually, I don't know what I just said. I'm not being a politically incorrect. I think this
This
was
is how
that I
nervous
messed
politics
up.
makes her.
Actually, the worst part was Smriti is looking at me like this, that don't say anything. So you say, make a politically incorrect statement first and I'll follow you.
I am on this stage with Barkha Dutt. How more politically incorrect can I get? Where is Barkha? Is she here? Yeah, see?
Yeah, she's here.
I think I'll make a
myself.
politically incorrect statement saying that
He's saying make a politically incorrect statement. I said, I'm here with Barkha Dutt.
What more politically incorrect could that be?
Two people who are at the opposite ends of the political spectrum. Yes, we are.
okay, I'm going
All
to make
right.
a politically incorrect statement now. Barkha, you've lost weight.
No, you've not
Ekta
lost weight.
Ekta is sounding
She's
like
just lying.
Pooja
She's trying to be
Makhija.
polite.
She's
You
only
put on weight
after
just like
everyone's
me.
dietary and nutrition.
I didn't want to say anything about politics or about films, but at the end of the day, I want to end this with a very politically incorrect statement. And this is actually the one I want to end with. Nepotism does not exist in the Indian film industry. It is you sell a product, it's a consumer-led market. It does not become nepotism because people buy what they want to buy.
That was for you, Karan.
Fantastic. And thank you, Ekta. Thank you very much. Thank you for kind of speaking on my behalf on that. We have time for very few questions from the house, ladies and gentlemen. I see a lot of excited hands. Let's make sure that we are not politically incorrect in our questions because then you will not be given the mic. Or you will be actually snatched the mic away from you. So yes, we
Men are
have,
asking
yes,
the
the gentleman in
question?
the yellow has a question. We're going to take very few questions, ladies and gentlemen. We have time for those.
Hi everyone. मेरा सवाल स्मृति जी से है and it's quite a bit personal as well because I want to make a career in film industry. कुछ भी होता है देश में हमेशा फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को क्यों सॉफ्ट टारगेट बनाया जाता है मतलब सबके सेंटिमेंट्स हमेशा फिल्म इंडस्ट्री से ही हट होते हैं और हमेशा ये देखा जाता है कि आर्टिस्टिक फ्रीडम हमेशा किसी पॉलिटिकल हित के लिए उसको कुर्बान कर दिया जाता है ये बंद होगा कि नहीं होगा बिकॉज कल उठ के अगर इफ़ आई मेकिंग अ फिल्म होपफुली और अगर वो रिलीज वो किसी प्रॉब्लम की वजह से कुछ पॉलिटिकल चीज़ की वजह से उसको रिलीज नहीं की जाती है दैट विल बी अ वेरी बिग ब्लो टू माई करियर इन दैट एक्सपेक्ट सो आर्टिस्टिक फ्रीडम होगी देश में क्या होगी अच्छे दिन आने वाले इस चीज़ में
मुझे लगता है कि जैसे जैसे हर चुनाव आता है वैसे वैसे ये प्रश्न मेन स्ट्रीम में उठना शुरू हो जाता है हम लोग कभी भी उस बात को तवज्जो नहीं देते हैं कि क्या हम सब एक फिल्म की पीआर स्ट्रीम का हिस्सा बन गए हैं ये भी एक इंट्रोस्पेक्शन की ज़रूरत है और मैं क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री का हिस्सा रह चुकी हूँ और अब मंत्रालय में क्योंकि चीज़ों को बड़े गौर से देख रही हूँ इसलिए मैं एकता और करण को मैं इन्वॉल्व इसलिए नहीं करना चाहूँगी क्योंकि ये लोग हमेशा एपॉलिटिकल रहे हैं लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हमें सच्चे दिल से जो इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं मैं बाहर के लोगों की बात नहीं कर रही हूँ वी ऑल नो व्हेन अ पीआर मूवमेंट प्लेज आउट द इशू इज इट an insult to our intelligence when those who are doing the PR thing presume that we are not wiser. Insofar as freedom of expression goes, I think that I'm very proud of the current CBFC chairperson, Prasoon Joshi. A sensitive soul, great writer, great creator. And I think it is to his credit that he has been so dignified in all his endeavors and all his interactions. अगर हम चाहते हैं कि सेंसिटिव लोग ऐसी रिस्पॉन्सिबल पोजीशंस में रहें, तो मुझे लगता है एज अ सिटीजन, और मैं मंत्री के नाते नहीं बोल रही हूँ, हमारी ये जिम्मेदारी है कि कहीं ना कहीं हम समझें कि वो कानून से भली भांति अवगत हैं और कानून के दायरे में ही काम करेंगे। ये प्रिजम्पशन कि क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर आइडियोलॉजी एक चेयर पर बैठी है, उसको कानून का आभास नहीं, ये अपने आप में एक नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन अपने साथ लाता है। मैं आज कई फिल्में गिना सकती हूँ, सबसे बड़ी फिल्म जो निकली वो अरविंद केजरीवाल पर निकली, वो इसी सरकार में निकली। अगर फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन स्टाइफल होता तो क्या ऐसी फिल्म कांग्रेस के वक्त नहीं निकली, बीजेपी के वक्त निकली? नहीं निकलती। ऐसी चीज़ों के ऊपर चर्चा इसलिए नहीं होती क्योंकि फिर वो पॉलिटिकली कन्वीनियंट नहीं होता, उस पर आउटरेज नहीं मैन्युफैक्चर हो सकता। इसलिए मेरा तो आग्रह यही है कि क्योंकि अभी कुछ चीज़ें चल रही हैं जिस पे मैं अगर सार्वजनिक टिप्पणी करूं तो चोट मुझे नहीं लगेगी, सीबीएफसी चेयरपर्सन को नहीं लगेगी, उसको लगेगी जिसने पीआर स्टंट किया है। इसलिए अच्छा है अगर मैं चुप रहूं।
Right. Yes, we have the lady right there.
Yes, the lady at the back. There's one lady there as well,
Yeah.
in the center.
Hanji, I'll just come to that, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much for picking me. I had no idea I would be chosen, first of all. I wanted to ask my question directed to you, Ekta ma'am, primarily, and of course, the both of you as well. As an aspiring actor, I have noticed going to a lot of auditions that the scripts we have or the dialogues they give us, or even my mother, in fact, watches a lot of these TV shows. So, we've noticed that the scripts are not your shows particularly, but the other shows running today. They have regressive scripts, while our movies are very progressive. They're open to women being.
I want to deny that because you know scripts could be filmy, could be
Yes.
melodramatic, could be high octane drama, could be waily, whiny, but they're not regressive. Let's not confuse issues.
Okay, I'm sorry,
We in
please.
India have television dealing with the third gender. A show called
Yes.
Shakti does that.
Yes.
No movies ever even discuss the third gender. And this is a long running show discussing a woman who could not know what sexuality she belongs to.
Yes.
We've had some regressive shows, some very, very progressive shows. But yeah, scripts are melodramatic. Now they sound regressive because for an urban girl to pick up a script and say, "Hi, मैंने क्या बोलते हैं लैपटॉप जला दिया, हाय मैंने ये कर दिया." But these are issues that somewhere resonate with some part of India. And I don't think any show with a regressive format works. For myself, would not put one dialogue. I have never had a show where a woman is called a Pati Parmeshwar. Never. She has never touched his feet, and if she has, he has stopped her and said, "This is wrong." As far as I'm concerned, in fact, lots of my dialogues have always said that we are equals in the relationship.
I think that is commendable, but
What
I
is,
meant was,
if you permit me to ask, is your dilemma as an actor or as a viewer?
as both, ma'am, because I see my mother watching these shows, and sometimes she is disagreeing with a lot of things as well, because as Ekta ma'am said, she never made her actors say those lines or do those things, but a lot of other
I'm
people
telling you one
are.
thing, television is such a vast medium. There are hundreds of shows out there. But
Yes.
99%, what I've noticed on television is, it won't work if it's regressive. If women are watching, they won't want themselves put down. Trust me.
That's
No, but
true.
I just have one request of you. As an actor, since I've been one, my request is that when we explore scripts, the toughest task for an actor is to do things which are absolutely unbelievable, absolutely you disagree with. Because it's easier to do real to life or very closer to life kind of characters or situations. The challenge for an actor is to put yourself in that absolutely melodramatic kind of a situation which you would never conform to as an individual yourself. It is tougher to do that, I feel, as an actor, that Saas Bahu's show, because you don't live life like that and put yourself in that situation, make it so real. That is a true test of an actor. Make something you don't believe in believable for other people. But as a viewer, I remember through this entire Kyunki journey, people used to say to us wherever we went, आपका सीरियल देख के बच्चों को कैसे संस्कार मिल रहा है? And I used to tell people one thing which I'm telling you today. टीवी का काम नहीं है बच्चों को बड़ा करना या संस्कार देना. वो माँ बाप का काम है. Family का काम है. If you don't like something, tell your mom, switch it off. What TV gives you enough options, media gives you enough options. What's something that you like, you believe in, you enjoy?
I, on
It
the
is-
other hand, said, please tell your mother not to switch it off. My company runs on that.
She wouldn't
Switch
listen
it
to me if I did
If you
that.
don't like something, switch it off.
Thank you. We're the ma'am in the center, the lady in the white. And we have one more question after this, ladies and gentlemen.
Smriti ma'am, this is towards you. After two heavy questions, just on a lighter note, where do you get your 24/7 firepower from? I drink a lot of protein shakes, but I don't get anything.
You have protein shakes? Do you have kids?
Yeah, I do. I have a
Yeah,
daughter.
that's where my power comes from. They drive me nuts. In the entire family matrix, Chanel, she is the sober one. I am actually the crazy one because I'm this hyper child running around trying to do everything. And when people in the house get very, very, scared that Smriti is on high power, high voltage right now, they call her, she holds me by the shoulder and she says, calm down. But I think that when you're trying to balance and you have a family that loves you so much unconditionally, they can hear my voice on the phone and just with a hello, they know that I need them with me. So whatever part of the world they are in, they just rush back home. So
Okay,
that
that's
is my Raz. You should see the Instagram I have. It says, you can't scare me, I have children.
That's true.
All right, one last question, the gentleman right at the back. Yeah.
First of all, kudos आप लोग यहाँ पर शामिल है. It's a wonderful moment. Karan, especially to the two women. Let's assume this fact कि आज समाज बदल गया है, लेकिन काफी सारा कुछ हमारे देश में बदला नहीं है. सबसे पहले मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि women empowerment, are they trying to match with men? They want to take men's jobs. We have given them, we cannot produce children. Understand that. We are.
ऐसा है साहब.
बेटा, ये-
Trying to, एक second,
ये
trying
men's
to be
job
a
का
man is a
No,
waste of a woman.
It's our bread and butter situation. अगर वो हमारा आप छीन लेंगे, तो हमारी जो बाकी rights
कोई
है.
नहीं आप
भैया मैं
चिंता-
आपको एक
आप-
बात पूछूं.
आप-
मेंस वुमेन्स जॉब
आप चिंता मत कीजिए, किसी को इंटरेस्ट नहीं आपसे कुछ छीनने का.
यहाँ
यहाँ पे जितनी औरतें बैठी हैं उनसे पूछ लीजिए.
मैम,
We are
मैं
very happy being women
मैं
and we have no desire especially to
मैं-
take anything from any man because that does not define us.
मैं माफी
So
चाहता
this
हूँ.
phobia कि औरतों
मैं-
को हमारा हक चाहिए नहीं चाहिए भैया.
मैं माफी चाहता हूँ. मैं 25 साल से भूख मर रहा हूँ. मैं वर्ली सीफेस का मैं मुकेश हूँ. मुझ पे रॉन्ग टैक्स लगाया जा रहा है. आप इंदिरा गांधी हो. एक चाय पीने
मैं
में
इंदिरा गांधी नहीं हूँ भैया.
नहीं, मैं विले
You got
पार्ले
the
में जाता
wrong
हूँ.
woman.
मुझको पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू मैं मुझको
Excuse me, sir.
Thank you.
Your rant can
what is
wait.
a man's job?
That was
Everything is a person's
Thank you
job.
so much. Sorry.
काबिलियत पे जॉब मिलती है. जेंडर पे कहाँ मिलेगी आपको?
Sorry, we have a lady who's come up to stage. Clearly, I'll have to
Oh,
ask
अच्छा,
her.
हाँ, ma'am.
Yes.
हाँ.
प्लीज आप सब कैसे भी करके बनाओ कि रेप केस नहीं होने चाहिए. जब जहाँ रेप केस है वहाँ उसका मर्डर कर दो और कुछ नहीं करो, मर्डर कर दो बस. ये रेप केस नहीं होने
I
चाहिए.
had
दिल्ली में
the
और बहुत हो रहे
privilege,
हैं.
madam, of speaking when the prevention of sexual assault on girl, child, and children was being debated in Parliament. I had the privilege of speaking for both government and opposition then. I think that this is an angst which is felt by not only women but families across the country. There are laws which are already established. The idea is to adjudicate as fast as possible and set up as many fast-track courts as possible. But if we really want to tackle the issue of sexual assault on women, it actually begins from educating them that women are not to be looked at as sexual commodities, but they are to be respected as people, and has to begin when the boy is like this small. You can't expect to educate a boy when he's 15, 16 or 20 and suddenly tell him to have respect for women. You have to teach them when they're young. So it has to begin with families, and yes, there are laws established and processes established to ensure justice is done. Just fast-track courts is, something that should do the job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
in
very
fact,
much.
I
On that
would-
note, sorry, we don't have any time
Karan-
that we come to draw an
Karan,
end to this
one
session.
second, 1 second, Karan, here, this side. So we have Chanel here.
Hi. Yes.
Chanel is Smriti Irani's daughter, and I think
Are you speaking? Are you not?
yes, she is there with a mic.
Thank you. This
Sorry, some naughtiness.
is the reason why she and I don't get along.
This is the reason why we secretly get along. Chanel Irani, let's hear from you about your mom, about women, about what you feel as a young woman. Do you have a mic?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here and for speaking. I just, well, what I feel about her is she's more my friend, my shield. My father's a very scary man, so she's my good shield between me and him. But I'm very proud to live in India, which has, you know, women like her, like Sushma Swaraj, like Nirmala Sitharaman in three of the most high-profile ministries, and this is the modern India, and I am very proud and happy to be part of this India, and that's it.
Can you tell us something about your mom that nobody knows?
I made her have dahi and grapes and watch Tom and Jerry for hours on end. Nobody knows that. For hours on end, and she sat there and watched it because, you know, that's what she does. So.
Is she as intimidating at home as she is in politics?
They bully me.
Well, yes, we do bully her, except when she pulls our ears. That is something that you never want to have happen to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karan Johar, Ekta Kapoor, Smriti Irani. What a panel this has been. What a panel this has been. I'm going to request the minister and both our delegates to remain on stage for one more minute. This whole morning, our theme has been about opening doors. We believe women can open doors for each other. And two women who have done that for India, we want the minister, Ekta, and Karan to felicitate them. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome Anki Das, the Director of Public Policy of Facebook. She missed her early morning flight, so she's right here. Welcome, Anki. But let me call the two heroines of the moment. We want to share with you, we are instituting an award. It's called the HER Award, if we can have that come up. It stands for Hope, Empower, Rise. And the first award is for Sakshi Malik. May we welcome Sakshi Malik on stage. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. We can do better than that in our applause for Sakshi as she goes off stage. And it is my privilege to welcome on stage somebody who's finally broken the final frontier in sports. Cricket was always a guy's thing. But Mithali Raj, the cricket captain team. The captain of the cricket team for the second HER Award by Minister Irani. Big round of applause for Mithali Raj. And thank you for a fantastic panel to Smriti Irani, Karan Johar and Ekta Kapoor. Let's give them our applause and our cheers. Backstage.